Hello, guys. Welcome to late. Well, not late, but late as in videotaping it. But new episode of Matthew Sports Talk. And once again, by late I mean is right now 11:17 p.m. Central Time, Monday. So by the time I post this, it'll probably be early Tuesday. But I just figured I'm up and got lots of stuff to talk about. But so before we get into anything, couple of things I wanted to address. First of all, you might notice my wall looks slightly different. I did some changing things around, so as you can see, I have retro Garnett jersey up right there. Got Timberwolves pennant. Their season starts next week. Got a little Vikings mini helmet, and then move over slightly that way. Got some not new Twins hats, but some different Twins hats hanging up. So just wanted to let you guys see that. So before I get into anything else, I want to address something that happened in not one but two games this weekend. So, as many of you probably know, a couple weeks ago against the Buffalo Bills, Tua Tagovailoa hit his head on the turf while being pushed back. It was originally described as a back injury. Although he did go through concussion protocol, he went right back out. It was a play that happened right before halftime. He came back out in the second half and played through it. He was listed on the Dolphins injury report for that week, but he was listed as having a back injury, not being in a concussion protocol. The Dolphins go to Cincinnati on Thursday night. He gets hit again violently, and his head once again hits the turf and causes a neurological injury that takes him out. Now, in response to that, the NFL has changed its concussion protocol, which I'm all for, player safety and everything like that. But this past weekend, there was not one, but two blatantly awful roughing the passer calls. One of which happened yesterday, where the Falcons sacked Tom Brady on a third down that would have eventually forced a punt and possibly have the Falcons take the ball down. They would have won the game. Sorry, I gotta pause for a second. My throat's really dry. I gotta get some water. Okay, now I'm back. I apologize if I might take a break to sip some water, but so yeah, roughing the passer call when the Falcons sacked Tom Brady. That gave the Buccaneers the first down and allowed them to drain out the clock to win the game. And then another call against Chris Jones tonight where he not only sacks Derek Carr, he also strips him of the ball and recovers the football it's a fumble recovery. But once again, roughing the passer call. Now, let me break down the two plays, and you can probably look this up. The first play with the Falcons and the Buccaneers. The defender pretty much tackles Brady at the body, not in the lower extremities, on the body, and then rolls him over as he brings him down. Chris Jones sacks Derek Carr with his body weight, which the rule does say you're not supposed to use your body weight to hit a quarterback. But at the same time, video clearly shows that Chris Jones is using his elbow, or not his elbow, his arm, to try to break his fall, so as to not put his full body weight on Derek Carr. So, and I understand the concussion protocol has been updated and player safety is right now very, very high. But this is just flat out ridiculous. I mean, what are defenders supposed to do? You might as well take them off the field if they can't tackle or sack a quarterback reasonably. So yeah, they have all been talking about having a replay official up in the skybox, reviewing every penalty, and then deciding whether or not it was the correct call. I 100% agree. I mean, they should also extend that to like anything like, you know, pass interference and whatnot. What else was I going to say? Yeah, because this is ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I don't agree with the calls. I understand player safety, but at the same time, it's football. It's a contact sport. Okay? It ain't flag football. It's football. So I feel for the guys, and I completely agree. There should be replay on penalties. And I feel like roughing the passer should be redefined using the word egregious. If the defender is egregious in his pursuit of bringing down the quarterback, keyword being egregious, if it's an egregious enough action, then roughing the passer should be called. If not, the flag is still thrown, it should be automatically reviewable, and then go on from there. So I just want to state that for the record. So, getting into football. Oh, my Vikings. As you can see, I have my Vikings bling on my chain and my Vikings pendant. And then I also got a new shirt. My man, Justin Jefferson. Oh, I'm going to bring up his fantasy stats again because it just makes me happy. Yeah, 12 receptions, 154 yards for a total of 30.3 fantasy points. So, and there was some, I gotta see if I can pull this up. There was the offense. I honestly, I thought, and I'll get into this more later, we should have put up 40 plus against the Bears. Because that was, we lost the momentum, but I'll continue about that later. But I just have to show you guys this play if I can get positioned right. This is probably the most beautiful offensive play call I've ever seen by a Vikings coach. Let me see if I can get all the way back.
Using Smith as one of them. Backwards pass to Jefferson. Throwback for Dalvin Cook with blockers in front. And a first down. It is first and goal for Minnesota.
That was just so beautiful. Never, and Mike Zimmer could never. Brad Childress, Leslie Frazier, none of them could make that play call. But Kevin O'Connell, you're getting there, my guy. You're getting there. But back to side of the point. For the third goddamn week in a row, the Vikings won a one-score game. Now, considering last year, they lost almost every single goddamn one-score game that they had. They only won a few. I mean, this is why one-score games, piss me off. Especially when they're against teams that should have no business being within one score of us. We should have dominated the Saints in London. We should have beaten them by 3 touchdowns. And we should have whipped the Bears' ass. And this is not because of the offense. And another thing I have to talk about. Kirk Cousins. Okay, yes. Another interception. And this is so blatantly obvious. Kirk, you are starting to lose my goodwill. And it is deteriorating rapidly. That interception you threw, you didn't. CJ Ham was right in front of you. You just had to throw to him. You had a first down. Why didn't you throw? Whatever. This is why right now, the only quarterback I cheer for is that guy right there. Get to him later. But Kirk, he was the word I would describe, automatic. He started the game 17 for 17. I mean, who would have ever thought that Kirk Cousins would start the game 17 for 17? I mean, and then he ended, it wasn't great after that, but overall, 32 for 41, 296 yards, a touchdown and interception. So, yeah. So, I'll say this again. I love you, Vikings. You gotta stop letting these teams come back on you. You need to put the hammer down. Once you put a team down, you make them stay down, okay? We are probably the worst 4-1 team in NFL history. I don't think anyone cares. I care, because I know we can be better than that. We could have beaten the Saints by 3 touchdowns. We could have beat the Bears probably by like 30. Honest to God. But I think what the real issue is right now is our defense. They came in, Ed Donatel, when he was brought in as the defensive coordinator, came up with a new defensive scheme. And I think some of the old guys are still kind of figuring it out. This will get better, hopefully. But right now, I think it's hard for our team to go up against any kind of high-powered offense and win. Yeah, I see a couple of teams. I see Buffalo, possibly Miami if Tua's back. Yeah. Defense has to get better. And hopefully they figure out the scheme really quickly. All right, so moving on. Next game. Cowboys and Rams. So, if you were to tell me that the Cowboys would go 4-0 with Cooper Rush, I would have said you're crazy. I mean, they beat Cincinnati. I understand. Cincinnati's offensive line is bad. That's why. Then they went... Who else did they beat? Sorry, I gotta look this up. Then they beat the Giants by a touchdown. Big whoop. I'm still not 100% sold on the Giants. Even though they are 4-1, I'm not 100% sold on them. You beat the Commanders. Once again, really big whoop. I just did my power rankings. And I personally believe Washington is currently the worst team in the league. So, once again, big whoop. And then you beat a Rams team that... Right now, the Rams are a shell of what they were last year, being the Super Bowl champions. Matthew Stafford looks dinged up. Their offensive line can't stop really anything. They're so goddamn focused on Cooper Kupp, they don't even realize who else they can throw to. And they don't have a power back in Cam Akers. So, honestly, they don't trust on running the ball like 100 plus yards every game. And they so insist on forcing it to Cooper Kupp that makes them incredibly predictable on offense. And then you got guys like Allen Robinson, who I had to drop his ass from my fantasy team because he wasn't getting shit. So, yeah, that's all I'll say about the Rams. Later on, depending on how long this episode goes, I'm going to have a segment called Do I Think This Team Will Make the Super Bowl or Not? I intended to do this segment last week, but I just, ran out of time. So maybe if I have time this episode, I'll do this episode. If not, I might make a quick episode tomorrow. So, next topic. Oh yeah, I already talked about the bad call for roughing the passer on Brady. Oh yeah. So, across the pond, we had the Packers and the Giants. And the Giants beat them. The Giants beat the Packers. The Giants are 4-1. Kudos to them. Now, at the same time, once again, I am pulling up their schedule. And I will close that pop-up. Who did they beat? They beat, week 1, they beat the Titans by a point. Big whoop. See where the Titans are at. They're 3-2. They're not bad. They beat the Panthers by a field goal. Panthers are honestly the second worst team. Maybe the worst team in some people's book. They just fired their head coach, Matt Rule. So maybe some people see the Panthers as the worst team in the league. I still think the Commanders are. But I got the Panthers number 31 in the power rankings. So they lost to the Cowboys. They could have won that game. They were in it for the most part. They beat the Bears. Big whoop. And then they just beat the Packers. Now, Aaron Rodgers did not have a great game. And it's clearly obvious he's missing Davante Adams. He has not developed connections with the receivers other than Randall Cobb. Oh, and Allen Lazard as well. So now, the Packers. Well, first of all, going back to the Giants. Their next game against the Ravens. Another good team. We'll see how they handle that. Jaguars, which I think could be a trap game. Seahawks, Texans, Lions, Cowboys. So yeah, we'll see how real the Giants are. Now, as for the Packers, looking at their schedule, they have the Jets, which they should easily win. But then again, I thought they should have easily beat the Patriots, and I thought they should have beaten the Giants. So, and then they're at the Commanders. Once again, should win. At the Bills, that's tough. And then at the Giants, because here's the one thing I think the Packers are having a problem right now. Their defense, supposedly a top 10 defense this season, has not played like it. They have given up more than 20 points 3 times. 3 out of 5 games. And then the only 2 was the Bears, whose offense, honestly, even after Sunday when they scored 22 points against the Vikings, I still consider their offense to be anemic. It's not there. The Bears need to develop a system that works for Justin Fields. They honestly need to. So they allowed 10 points against the Bears. Then they allowed 12 points to the Buccaneers, who were without Chris Evans because he was suspended, and they were also dealing with a whole lot of injuries. So we will see what's up with the Packers coming up. Oh yeah, here's a good question. Is Russell Wilson a fraud? The Broncos lost terribly to the Colts last Thursday, 12-9. Might be described as the worst Thursday night football game ever. And it's to the point where, honestly, after the health of Tua because of his second hit and his neurological injury and just how goddamn awful the Broncos and Colts game was, I think the NFL needs to abolish Thursday night football. It's just not good for competition. Now, I would suggest this as an alternative because I know Amazon is paying a lot of money for Thursday night football. I suggest switch it to Friday night and have Friday Night Lights. Then that way, the recovery time prior is 5 days. You got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 4 days, actually, not 3. 4 days. And then recovery after time is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday is 9 days. That's what I propose. Friday Night Lights. Make it happen, NFL. And I'm sure Prime will be okay with that. Or Amazon, actually. But yeah, no. Russell Wilson is getting paid $250 million. That's B with for billion. B. B. Now, the quarterbacks that can justify getting that amount of money are quarterbacks that either A, can get the respect of their locker room, or B, elevate their team. I'll give you some examples. That guy right there can elevate a team and has good rapport with the locker room. Allen, good guy, can elevate a team. Rodgers can elevate a team. Not necessarily a good guy, but can elevate a team. Brady, I mean, he's old. He doesn't play as well, but he has the respect of the locker room because of how good he is. What else can I use for an example? I mean, just giving you some other examples from years past. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning even. Justin Herbert, even though he's not at that team elevating level yet. Derek Carr, maybe. He has the respect of the locker room. Not sure if he can elevate a team. Lamar Jackson, respect of the locker room, can elevate a team. The reason Russell worked in Seattle was because at the time where they were in their heyday, when they went to 2 Super Bowls and won one, they were predicated on the Legion of Boom, their defense. Not predicated on Russell Wilson. They were counting on, and as most defensive coaches like to do, stout defense, run the football. And, Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch. And once again, I will go back to saying, if it were not for the most stupid play call in NFL history, that you throw it on the goal line instead of handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson would have had 2 rings on his fingers. 2. But, eventually it became the time where the Legion of Boom went in separate ways, and then they relied on Russell Wilson to just let it cook, and he couldn't. It was proven he could not let it cook. Now, let's just go see. I want you to see. Wait a minute. Yes, this is what I want to do. So Russell Wilson's stats so far this year. And let me know if you think this is a $250 million quarterback. 101 for 170. It's not bad. 1,254 yards. Okay. 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I'm just going to look up Yep, I'm going to look it up right now. So as of right now, Russell Wilson's QBR has him 26th in the NFL, ahead of only Matt Ryan, Mac Jones, Jameis Winston, Davis Mills, Joe Flacco, and Baker Mayfield. And here's who's just ahead of him: Justin Fields, Carson Wentz, Mitchell Trubisky, Ryan Tannehill, and Jimmy Garoppolo. That does not sound like a $250 million quarterback. So, to answer the question, yes, Russell Wilson is a fraud. Now, it's only week 5. And I'm not saying that he can't turn around and make things right. But at the same time, he's not utilizing his weapons. Jerry Jeudy, he might be getting dropped from my fantasy team. His ass is this close. He's your top wide receiver. You're not using him. Your run game is not as effective as you thought it would be. I mean, your defense is good. Your defense is solid. But at the same time, you have Nathaniel Hackett as your head coach. The guy that used to be the offensive coordinator for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Now, like I said, the Vikings brought in Kevin O'Connell, so I have a certain level of expectation for our offense. Right now, they have matched that. They have matched it. They haven't exceeded it. They have matched it. They have matched my expectations for our offense. Nathaniel Hackett has not. And it's not even close. Right now, Matt Rule, I get that firing. That should have happened. There are 2 other coaches that right now should be on the hot seat. And that is Ron Rivera. I mean, he's a good guy, but the Commanders suck, and I don't see them getting better. And Nathaniel Hackett. Because you, like I said, are offensive coach, and you have Russell Wilson, who arguably belongs in the top 10 of current NFL quarterbacks. And he has a QBR that's ranked 26th in the league right now. So, most teams don't fire their coaches after one season. Jacksonville Jaguars are the glaring exception of that. This might be a case where you need to. Especially if you can't get Russell to work. So, and that took a little longer than I thought. So, I already kind of talked about the Chiefs-Raiders game. I will say this though, that game was way too close. I understand the Raiders got off to the fast start, but at the same time, the Chiefs. Sorry, I need a drink. Okay. The Chiefs, your O-line was terrible tonight. Mahomes got pressured too much. He's so Chiefs O-line needs to improve, but at the same time, having this guy and Travis Kelce on my fantasy team is so unfair. But I don't care. I don't. And then this is what I do. Mwaha. Evil laugh. Mwaha. So, Mahomes, 30.5 fantasy points. Then Travis Kelce, get this. 7 receptions for 25 yards. You think, God, that's awful. But he had 4 touchdown receptions. All 4 touchdown passes that Mahomes threw were to Kelce. So Kelce got me 33.5 fantasy points. I should feel so ashamed, but I don't. I love it. And speaking of my fantasy points, I'm sorry, I know I'm getting off topic, but Nick Chubb balling out again, 25.4 fantasy points. That was really the only other highlight. I won by 27, but, fantasy is what it is. Okay, so, next topic. Eagles-Cardinals. Yep, Eagles scrape one by Cardinals. Terrible time management. I'm sorry, I'm just going to breeze through these because I know this has gone rather long. Chargers-Browns. Chargers outlast Browns. Good for them. Ravens-Bengals. Ravens, big whoop. You beat the Bengals, but I don't know why Lamar isn't clicking in that game. Lions. You get shut out by the Patriots. I mean, you're the number one scoring offense for a reason. And you couldn't. I mean, the Patriots, yeah, they can play defense, but seriously, get shut out. And you also lose to third-string quarterback in Bailey Zappi. The Lions are the most confounding and weird team in the NFL right now. Jets roll over the Dolphins, who, once again, playing with Teddy Bridgewater, Dolphins were. And he goes down because of a concussion. So they had their third-string quarterback in there. So Jets 3-2, but once again, competition matters. You beat bad teams. Big whoop-de-doo. Saints outlast Seahawks. Yippee-dee-doo-dah-day for the Saints. And they go marching in. Not. Okay, so that was the quick rundown. I'm just going to here. Because it's going to take too long to go through them one by one. Washington, Carolina, Houston. This is number 32. We're starting at the bottom. Washington, Carolina, Houston, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, Jets, Atlanta, Seattle, Raiders, Denver, New Orleans, Cleveland, Indianapolis, New England, Arizona, Jacksonville, Rams, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Miami, Green Bay, Giants, Baltimore, Chargers, Buccaneers, San Francisco, Dallas, Vikings, number 4. Kansas City, Buffalo, and Philadelphia all stay the same at 1, 2, and 3. Quick one down of my power rankings. I will say this though, I'm not gonna make my picks now because once again, this episode is taking too long. But next week there are, let's see, 1 goddamn pop-ups. Next week, there are 3 matchups that involve teams in my top 10 of my power rankings. We got the number 9 Ravens at the number 10 Giants. We have the number 2 Bills at the number 3 Chiefs. And we have the number 5 Cowboys at the number 1 Eagles. That's 3 matchups in the top 10 and 2 in the top 5. And guess who has next Sunday off? This guy! Oh, it's going to be such a fun day to watch football. First of all, hopefully watch my Vikings beat a banged up Dolphins team. And then watching the Chiefs and Bills, then the Cowboys and Eagles. It's going to be hopefully a fun day of football next Sunday. So anyway, yeah, no, this episode went a little longer than I thought it would, so I will be doing the little bit on Make the Super Bowl in the next episode, which I'll probably film it tomorrow. I know this one's getting posted today, but I'll still date it for today, the 10th. I'll film another one tomorrow with my Make the Super Bowl bit, and then also I'll make my predictions for next week. So, see you guys pretty soon. Until then. I don't know why I did that. Adios, whatever. I'll see you guys probably in like 12 hours or so. But anyway, signing off for now.